Hi everyone, this is going to be your intuitive astrology reading for the full moon happening on December 15th, 2024. It's occurring at 4:02 a.m. Eastern Time, but times will vary depending on your location. It's going to be a good one. We've got a conjunct Jupiter. Mercury's turning direct that day. It's opposing the galactic center, so there's going to be lots to dive into. As I said, this is an intuitive reading, so while based in astrology, I do get messages and downloads from my guides as the reading progresses. You are watching the Rock and Roll Prophetess on YouTube, and you can find me at vickieverlie.com. Do not be fooled by imposters. If you enjoy this content, please do hit the like and subscribe and drop me a comment. It's much appreciated. Okay, let's get into it now. So it's a full moon at 23 degrees 53 of Gemini. So therefore it means it's opposing the sun at 23:53 of Sagittarius up here. And 23:53 of Sagittarius, which is pretty much 24, is conjunct the galactic center, which is like 25-26 degrees. The galactic center is the center of our universe, and it's a point of major downloads, awareness, connecting with higher dimensional beings, getting those big downloads and messages from the universe. And so it's going to be very poignant in that way. Also, because, speaking of messages, this is so kind of Gemini heavy. So of course the full moon's in Gemini. It's in a wide orb conjunction with Jupiter too, so that's going to be expanding that Gemini energy, expanding that full moon energy. And Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury. And later that day, about 12 hours later roughly, Mercury, which has been retrograde, it's stationed at the exact moment of the full moon, but within 12 hours it turns direct. So there is all this energy about Mercury, or third house energy, which is communication, short distance travel, your home, your siblings. There's a lot of things to go with it, but it really does talk about communication. So things that have been stalled and delayed are going to start moving forward. The full moon can bring big ahas and revelations about problem solving, whether it's problems within your own relationships, or if it's a project that you've been, burning the midnight oil, they're saying, trying to figure out in your brain, this problem solve. Things could really move forward, and it could really be very favorable, and you can see some results finally. It's going to be, we're moving into a more result-oriented paradigm, I guess you could say. Now let's see what it's doing here. So it's at 23 degrees. It's squaring with the Neptune, yeah. So we've got a square with the Neptune, and an out of sign square too with the nodes here. So that also brings in this fate, this destiny thing. The culmination also then with the nodes of the last, year and a half or so, in the 18 months or so. Because when we hit the first week in January, the nodes are going to change signs. So there is this turn of the wheel, turn of fate. And we're getting close to not only the new year, but the solstice will be coming up too on the 21st, which is also a turn of the wheel. So there is this turn of the wheel. What I'm hearing, world turning, I gotta get my feet back on the ground. World turning. Yeah, the world is turning in new directions, turning the corners, turning timelines, turning paths are opening, because this is a path, and walking down, they're showing me like path. They're showing me like this singular path, and I could probably draw it a little better. And then they're showing me like all kinds of, not just one, not just like a fork in the road, but they're showing it like this, almost as if it's like bursting open. So here's you or me or whoever. Here we are, walking down the road, and then it's like, wow. We can. There's a little. We can go a little bit this way, a little bit this way, and then we get to this point, and it's like something's really opening. A vortex, an energy vortex is opening at this time. And it's full of possibilities. It's full of endless possibilities. There's just all sorts of ways to go. With the galactic center, also this square to Neptune too. Neptune squaring the galactic center, just in general. We could take even the full moon out of the equation. the galactic center being at 26 of Sag, you know, there is Neptune is the surreal, the spiritual, the higher vibrational beings, higher vibrational states of consciousness, higher vibrational mysteries. You know, there's something mysterious about it. There's something very much creative. And I know a lot of creatives watch my videos. And so this could be, you know, really good for, you know, channeling that, connecting with the muse, you know, getting in touch with the muse and bringing forth, you know, get your creative juices really flowing. We've got Jupiter now. I wouldn't say the full moon, but Jupiter at 15 degrees is also squaring over here with Saturn. Now, that's been kind of going on for a while. You know, I feel like everybody puts that as a downer. Anytime there's Jupiter and Saturn together, everybody's like, oh, well, Saturn's going to wreck all your plans. Saturn's going to is a killjoy and is going to stomp on Jupiter's fun times or whatever, you know. And, you know, that could happen if you want to use the energy that way. But I find that what Saturn will do is help solidify a Jupiter thing, help solidify it to where it's solid. Because Jupiter can be really expansive, especially Jupiter in Gemini, like almost like that thing I just drew. It can kind of be going all over the place. Saturn's like, okay, Jupiter, calm down now. I know you want to express a lot. I know you have so many ideas to express and you have so much, you know, to bring, and you want to just expand and everything's flowing. Saturn's like, let's go through all these ideas. First of all, let's get them in a nice, neat bundle. That's the way they're showing it to me. Like, let's get them a nice, neat bundle, pick the best ones out of it, and then let's really focus in on pick one or two that are going to be the ones that can really go somewhere. And Saturn has as the wise elder, especially in the sign of Pisces, as Saturn is bringing in that wise elder energy, you know, that could be, it has the knowledge and experience to determine what might be viable and what might not be viable. Here's the other thing too, they're just coming through with what is old is new again. Because Saturn is the wise elder and Pisces is that elder energy, and then we've got the Neptune at such a high degree of Pisces. So there is this wisdom of the ages. That's the words they want me to use. There is this wisdom of the ages. And so we could take this Gemini energy, and with our Gemini fact-finding and organizing and reading all up on it and get it into a nice cohesive package. And there could be, I mean, some of you might be like making a documentary about something like that, or even doing research to writing a book about incorporating like really old, and maybe even with Pisces, maybe even really old spiritual knowledge, you know. Something like that could reemerge. Or this could be something that you're doing in your own personal life where you're, maybe you're getting into some ancient thing, or even like doing genealogy or something like that. But I feel like we're realizing, or people would be realizing, that there's value in these older things, that they can be brought into the modern world, that they do have value and they do have wisdom. Sorry, I had a cough drop, I had to take it out, excuse me. My guides keep talking about the wisdom of the ages. Yeah, so the wisdom of the ages, it could even be a scientific discovery. Because they're like flashing me like the Sphinx and stuff like that. I'm getting images of like the Sphinx and that. Maybe they'll finally find that secret chamber under the Sphinx or something. That could be revealed, who knows. Or maybe they already know where it is. I don't know. Somebody in the comments could fill in the details. But that's what they were flashing at me, the Sphinx. Well, actually, or the fate could even be like the Tutankhamun thing. You know, the Tutankhamun sarcophagus mask or whatever. But that image, you know, the image of the face with the whole Egypt thing, like the Sphinx or whatever, you know, they're showing me that. Actually, I feel like what they're showing me is in color. It's more like the Tutankhamun thing, but, you know, there's so many mysteries in Egypt too, right? It could be something like that. So the two can work together. They definitely can work together. And they've been working together, and especially in the mutable signs. It's not like the fixed signs where they're going to, you know, they're going to square off necessarily, because the mutable can almost be seen as malleable. You know, the mutables are willing to compromise. The mutables are willing to, you know, they're not so set, things aren't so set in stone as far as that goes. Okay, we've got, what's that, an inconjunct or whatever to the semi-sextile to Uranus is involved too, Uranus and Taurus. So Uranus is there, and Uranus is still sextiling with the Neptune. I've talked about this a lot. Both are not quite in the 3D reality. So it's just even more fuel to kind of blast us off into the next realm of higher consciousness, or the next realm of dimension. And with the Uranus spending its final days here in Taurus, because it'll be changing next year. I've been doing the year ahead readings, and if you want to get in on that, you've got to limit it till the end of this month only. But that is one of the things that is happening. There's so many planets that are changing signs, and Uranus will be leaving. Uranus will be leaving and moving into Gemini on July 7th. It's going to go back in November, but we're going to have a good few months there where Uranus has moved into Gemini. And this full moon also in the sign of Gemini, you know, that could be a precursor of what this might feel like. Many of us could get insights, downloads, a preview of what this whole Uranus is going to maybe feel like in the next year. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that are changing signs here. That's why the year ahead readings are so interesting and exciting this year. But anyways, yeah. So we're bringing in these higher dimensional things. Uranus and Taurus is helping to ground it into the physical reality. Saturn is helping to ground it into the physical reality. I want to look over here. This is really drawing my attention, this Venus-Ceres conjunction, and loosely to Pluto. We will have the Venus-Pluto conjunction leading up to that. I believe that's maybe even today when I'm doing the reading. When is that? Yeah, it's actually the 7th. It's today as I'm doing the reading today on December 7th. Yeah, there's a Venus. It actually just happened. That's about an hour ago. Venus went to 0, conjunct Pluto, and now it's hanging out in the sign of Aquarius. But I feel like Venus opposed to Mars. Now, it could be, you know, fights between loved ones or whatever, but I also feel like it could be a new approach to love life. And if you've been like dating and it's not been going well or whatever, you've been looking for love to call my own. I'm about to get up in the morning, feel my bed, looking for love to call my own. Yeah. So if you're looking for a love to call your own this holiday season, this could give you some insights, or maybe a different way to go about it, or a different way to think of it, or looking in a different direction. My guides are coming through with. You might start looking in a different direction. But I get the feeling like this could be some love stuff, good, in a good way. You could meet somebody. And it's also trining and sextiling Mercury. So when that Mercury goes direct here on the day of this full moon, we got this Venus-Mars, you could have a big insight into that, or how you could maybe, even if you're not looking for a love, but how you could bring a better attitude is really not the right word, but let's just use it for now. a better approach or a better attitude to your existing relationship. And maybe a fact of falling in love again is what I'm getting. So if you've been just getting on each other's nerves even in your long-term relationship, you could kind of fall in love again. And they're giving me the John Lennon. It'll be just like starting over. I'm way out of key. But it'll be just like starting over. John Lennon, Yoko album. That one. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So could be, maybe want to listen to that song if you want to get more insight. A lot of times when the guides come through with these songs, it's not just because they said they're not just whistling Dixie. I think they've used that line before too, but they're not just whistling Dixie. A lot of times the tunes of the lyrics of the songs have meaning, even if it doesn't have meaning to you personally. Like, oh, that song reminds me of this or that. It has the lyrics could have meaning on an esoteric level. This Chiron's grabbing me at 20 degrees here too. That's also in a sextile too. So there's opportunity for healing here. Chiron in Aries, though, has been all about healing ourselves, I want to say. You know, Chiron in Aries is coming. I forgot to put that. I got to put that in here. I think that's next year too. Chiron's going to move into Taurus. But, you know, that's been a lot about healing ourselves. And, you know, what are we bringing? You know, I think that's going to be the biggest positive thing and the biggest positive takeaway, I guess you could say, from this whole thing. I mean, I'm just going to type in real soon, Chiron in Taurus. I've got my tablet here. Not in tablet, in Taurus. I almost typed Chiron in tablet. Chiron in Taurus. When is this going to be? Well, it's not showing. Let's put date. One more thing. Yeah, Chiron and Taurus, date. I'm going to put that in because I want to know about that. Let's see here. I'm giving dates from the 1920s, so that's not helpful. Oh, boy. Well, okay, here it goes. It's going to be April. Yeah, I need to make... It's 2027, actually, so we got one more year. But it's past the halfway point. Okay, Chiron has been in Aries since 2018. It's past the halfway point. It's time for maybe a check-in. Like, how are we doing with our self-healing here? How are we doing? It was so important because for so long the nodes were there too with it, and the nodes were, it's part of our collective. The transiting node is part of our collective soul path and our collective direction, that we're supposed to be going in. So yeah, it's healing the self. How's that going? How's that going? How are you in your own skin? My guides are saying, how are you feeling in your own skin, and what are you bringing to the world, to your relationships, to the world, to the third house, your local environment? What are you bringing to the world? While the nodes are still in Aries, it's a lot about this, the North Node in Aries and the Chiron. Like, okay, say on the election things went your way or didn't go your way, whatever. I don't want to get any political fights. But, okay, so that's over. What can I do? What can I do to make my environment and my space and my environment, like where I live, but also my energetic environment, my thoughts, deeds, and actions and words. This is all, third house energy, Gemini. What can I do on an individual level? Maybe I can't change the world right now. Maybe we're not going to change the world right now. That's probably going to come more as Pluto really gets there solid into the Aquarius, But what can I do? What can I do to make my life better and the people in my environment's life better, and just make my life a more pleasant experience on the whole? Is fighting on social media, because that could really escalate too with this, honestly. That could be a downside of this. Jupiter, well, I think that's Jupiter and Gemini. That's been one of the things. It's really, really escalated to the point of I don't even want to look at it, Or even in the news too, they just there's all this bickering and blah, 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 blah. Talking heads, yammering. So what can we do as individuals with our Aries self to, what do they call it? Grassroots. That's what I'm trying to say. Grassroots. On a grassroots level. In your community, perhaps, but maybe just in your own home, within your own friend group, within your own family. What can we do to make things better? Okay. Another Beatles song's coming through. Hey Jude. Better, better, better. Wow. Yeah, better. Make it better. Take a sad song and make it better. Yeah, that's good. Good stuff. Guys they're on point today, aren't they? Okay. Well, the Mercury's also trining the Mars. Yeah, we did talk about that. So Mars can be conflict too. And with the Mercury, at retrograde, but going to go direct later that day, There could be some old thing like where you just said, let's just agree to disagree. I'm not beating a dead horse. An old Mars, something that was agitating, aggravating, or that you were kind of going to battle over. There could be a breath of fresh air. There could be, the Mercury and Sag. There could be, hey, you know what? We're just, because Mercury and Sag is light. Hey, let's just go, hang out or have some fun. Or, Mercury and Sag doesn't take things all so seriously, And neither does Mars and Leo, really. The Leo, the fire signs are about let's have some fun, okay? And this is also a grand trine with the node, with the North Node. 2 degrees of Aries, 5 degrees of Mars, of Leo, and then 6 degrees of Sagittarius. So that's a grand trine in fire. Fire! Yeah. That's my rendition of a little flame there. I feel like, what is she drawing? That's supposed to be, maybe if I put logs in it, you could tell it's sort of like a campfire. Oh, okay. So there is an opening. There is an avenue. Okay, because this Gemini is all about the avenues, the boulevards and the avenues, the streets we walk down, literally and figuratively in life, right? I'm noticing here that this Venus in Aquarius is squaring over here with the Lilith. Okay, so that could be a little more rougher, It's the fight of Lilith and Scorpio. Can be, the vengeful, hell hath no fury. It could be a scorned individual. It doesn't have to be the woman, because I know plenty of dudes that are, do that stuff. And with the Gemini moon, like, if you're tempted to go on social media and start talking smack about your ex, I mean, if that's your jam, then rock out with it. But that could get really ugly and bitter too. But this could be, they're saying cold-blooded, that can be the downside of it. But also there is this ability with Scorpio to transmute the death and the rebirth. But, this could be seeing things from a higher perspective, where you had what I was talking about earlier, where you really maybe have dug your heels in and just and are stewing in bitterness or hatred or something, anger, where that anger is, because Lilith, she definitely can bring that energy, right? I think Lilith gets a bad rap, and I always try to stick up for her and say she was the original feminist, which she was. But in this instance, I'm kind of getting that, she's like, being a little bit on that side of that vengefulness, of that vendetta. Well, look at the rise of no matter what you think, this is another big world event. I usually don't talk too much about world events, but this is kind of disturbing that the healthcare guy got murdered on the street there. And whether, a lot of people are, he deserved it and whatever, that I'm not even going to get into that, the moral ethics of it. But it's a little scary. There's 2 assassination attempts on the president or ex-president or what, soon to be president again. And then this guy, this vigilantism. This vigilantism is a little bit scary to me. This is getting a little bit, is that where we're going? With Pluto and Aquarius, that's not where we're supposed to be going. That's really, that's some dark stuff. I think nobody deserves to get murdered on the street, period. And I don't want to fight about that either, this guy. And I'm all for universal health care, I will say. That is something that we really need. But in America. But murdering some guy on the street, to me, that's almost the equation of murdering these people that work at the abortion clinic. How is that, that doesn't seem right to me. That doesn't seem like the answer, okay? And that doesn't seem like if you're doing it in the name of your religion. I don't think murder in the name of religion is, no matter what the case may be. I don't think that's, but that's kind of the vibe that came forward. I had no plans of talking about that at all, but that's the kind of vibe that I got for it. Hopefully, with the Pluto kind of weighing in here, because honestly, here's why I'm, if you're not familiar, Aquarius is all about humanity, and one for all for one, and rising to a higher state of consciousness and all those kinds of things. So, but that fixity, being so fixed, and that vengeance, that's the vibe I'm really getting off of that Lilith and Scorpio. So let's try to, maybe send some energy to heal that, or put some good vibes around that and heal that energy, because that feels like some real dark stuff there, So hopefully if you're feeling that, maybe you could, and this is 11th house too, this is reaching out to the groups. Maybe you could find somebody to talk to if anybody out there is thinking about doing anything like that. I mean, please, think twice, think many times over, and talk to somebody, because there's something disturbing about it. Let's just put it that way. And hopefully, hopefully nothing will happen. We send some prayers and we'll shift out of that timeline. I'm going to do a whole nother video about this whole timeline shift that I had. It's pretty crazy. I'm going to probably record it today and I'll upload it sometime here in December. And I will be also uploading the year ahead Dictiomancy, where I pull passages out of my channel material for the upcoming year. So if you've been waiting on that. So there's lots of videos coming up here in December. But yeah, the full moon in Gemini, Mercury direct. For all intents and purposes, this is the green light. Let's move forward. We've got access to these higher dimensions. We've got access to our guides and angels. Let's not get embroiled in any kind of dark mystery stuff, covert actions or whatever. That's the words the guides came through with. I'm not even sure what covert actions even means, because I'm not into any of that stuff, I'm just a peace-loving girl. Anyways. What is that? That's tie your mother down. He's just a peace-loving guy. Yeah. Tie your mother down. Tie your mother down. Well, don't be tying your mother down. Just be a peace-loving guy and a peace-loving peeps, okay? Anyways, I think that about wraps up my take on this thing. If you want to get in on that year ahead reading, it is the last chance. It'll only be available till the end of this year. We're going to dive into all the astrology. That's half the reading. And then we do a big layout of cards over the 4 quarters of the year, and even an animal totem card. Also, I do a weekly breakdown of the astrology transits and 2 cards for each sign over on Patreon. So you can find all the links to all that down in the description. I hope you all have a full moon. I hope the illumination, and it shines a light on you, and that you get a really good redirection, because it feels like it could be a time of redirection, and there's many paths to choose. Yes, there are many paths to go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. Yeah. Good one. All right, everybody, have a great full moon. Remember your love and beauty incarnate. If you want the year ahead reading, head over to my website. I'm not going to be messaging you on social media. Those are complete fakes, okay? And also, if you're doing your holiday shopping, support independent creators, whether it's me, I have a bunch of stuff on my website, or anybody else. Support independent creators and make the season bright. Okay, we'll talk to you later for see you in the next reading. Okay, bye.